Welcome everybody, we are entering the first game of the Zotac Cup. Everybody be excited, we are spawning directly on top of Astronomy, the pink Protoss on the top right, going up against Sleep. We have two very skillful people. This is going to be the first game of today's Zotac Cup. It is the 35th North American Cup, and this is on GSL Daybreak, and oh my god, it's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. I mean, you know, anytime you get a good PvC combination on this kind of map, it's going to be hot, man. I cannot wait to see what we're going to see out of Sleep, especially because he's so epic. Just, hearing about his matches, I've never actually watched him play, but hearing about his matches, he is just an amazing skilled macro player. Can't wait to see how he does that against Astronomy, who we saw last week play a couple of games, and I had a good time watching those as well. You know, he used to be on VP, but now he's on what team?
He's teamless at the moment. He's hunting around.
Still hunting. Gotcha. He's a free agent, as they would call it.
Oh yeah, he's actually a really good person, not to be underrated. He's right now top GM, I believe. I forget where he is. Last time I checked, he was in the top 50 or the top 60 of the North American GM. Don't quite know beyond that, but first off, we are seeing him going for a Forge Fast Expand. GSL Daybreak may be a two-player map, but it is such a long map. You have a lot of time to get up an early Nexus. I've literally seen a bunch of people go for a Nexus first and be completely safe with it.
Well, you have so many switchbacks and things like that there's a decent amount of time from one point to the other, that even if you try to rush, yeah, you've got plenty of time. I'm right there with you. You've just got so much time to kind of not really relax, but kind of sit back and take that early expansion. It's kind of like Shakira's Plateau, where you kind of have that easy natural you can take. It's the third that's when it starts getting complicated, and you've actually got to start having the army to back up your expansion.
Yep. For those who are unfamiliar, the third does have two entrances, and so does the natural in a weird way, because your natural is blocked off by destructible debris. Then you have this awkward middle ground, and then you get to where the natural actual base is, and then you have this other entrance at the bottom that leads to the third, which can then be reached by this wide pattern on the bottom, and then you've got a small ramp on the top. It can be a really awkward thing to try in SimCity effectively, and you almost have to treat the natural and the third as two completely separate bases that might as well be all the way across the map because of the way that the terrain is around them. Yeah, but now, so Sleep did go for the pool and then for the hatchery, so looking perfectly standard, perfectly macro oriented. Will probably take his third fairly soon.
Ow. Sorry, my mouse got tied around my microphone and unplugged itself.
So you alright over there?
Yes, I'm good. Everything's fine. How are you?
I'm doing better than you, apparently. But now, Sleep did throw down his third just now, and a really nice thing to note that he did, small minor thing, is that he sent his drone here by just moving it, right-clicking it, whatever you want to say, before actually telling it to build a hatchery, so he saves minerals over this long trip from the natural to the third, increasing his efficiency ever so slightly, but ever so importantly, as it allows him to get out a drone or two faster than if he had just plopped down the hatchery from the midst of the mineral line.
Yeah, and that's just smart economic play right there. That's just getting the timing down, knowing exactly what you can do with it, and really knowing the map choice. And that's just good economy, just like you said. It's good mineral management, and we're going to see Sleep kind of poke up a little bit there with the Zergling, and finally it looks like Astronomy just didn't want any house guests at the moment, starts trying to push that little bugger right out of the way. But I think Sleep might have something up his sleeve there with with so many angles of attack just to get into that natural. It's going to be really hard for Astronomy to try to control all that space with just that one zealot and that one cannon. He's going to have to be really careful not to get drawn out by Sleep's feigned attacks.
Yeah, and now Astronomy hasn't stopped chronoing out this warp gate, so I'm thinking he's going to be doing some kind of warp gate play. You can see he's already thrown down 3 additional ones. We have a PP, so not quite sure what's up with Astronomy, but let's quickly pause that and hopefully everything will be okay. Mouse rechange. Okay, well, while waiting for that, it looks like Astronomy is going for a pretty powerful 4 warp gate beginning attack at the start of this game, which is definitely odd off of this Forge Fast Expand. It's a great way to put on pressure, but look at the minimap. I don't see any proxy pylons or probes out on the field. Do you?
No, I haven't seen any really move out. He had one out there a little bit ago, but he pulled it back, and I think it might have gotten taken out by those 2 Zerglings. I'm not 100%, but I have not seen another one go back out onto the field in quite a while. So it looks like he's going to have to try to get by that one Zergling to get that forward pylon going.
Alright, and there we go. So now we're resuming this. But it does seem like these are Zerglings. As far as the probe situation goes, there is not a single probe out on top of the map, but these 2 zealots are pushing forward. That will allow a probe to follow. Yep, the probe is going down behind them, so the probe is staying hidden. These just look like normal zealots to go ahead and disrupt the map position of Sleep, and will hopefully hide the probe's presence, because that's a really big thing. You can see how the probe is running around trying to stay hidden from the zealot, which is a really nice thing that Astronomy is doing. But Sleep has got to be ready for something. You don't see any spines being thrown down, but he really should be getting those up, as Warpgate is already done.
Yeah, it sure is. And, you know, right now, looking at the work of supply right now, Sleep at 47, Astronomy trying to catch up at 40, but the Army supplies are definitely rapidly approaching equilibrium right there with roughly about 14. So looks like Astronomy's going to be pretty safe now if he wants to try to get out of the field, do a little bit of pushing, try to get a little bit more map control. I think that's going to be a really smart thing for him to do now that he's got that forward pylon down, but it has been spotted by Sleep, so he may be able to take that down before any of the units are able to warp in, but finally Astronomy's forces are there just in time.
Yeah, but this delaying is so key. Sleep was able to cancel 2 of those zealots, now you have a weaker force pushing forward, but there are no spines here. It is just the Lings. Metabolic boost is only 2/3 of the way done, and it's not looking like it's going to be done in time for a massive push. We already see that a pylon was canceled, but more units are coming in. Luckily, though, for Sleep, there's no +1 attack, but still, this is a large force. Sleep's economy is pretty healthy, though, so he's able to produce a lot of units. He's barely ahead in the worker count, but I'm kind of worried for him, especially because this Stargate is getting scouted, which is nice, but still, once blurs get added to this pressure, we're going to need some spores down. We're going to need Hydras or something.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be having to designate those drones into making that into making those defensive units there, and this is going to get kind of interesting because Sleep now has the metabolic boost finished. He's trying to chase down this small pack of forces here from Astronomy, but he's trying to find a good place, and good force fields go down, trap a couple of Zerglings in there, and the Zealots are able to kind of clean them up a little bit. So this is good back and forth here. The downside is Astronomy was supply blocked after dropping all those pylons. He kind of put out the forces as quickly as he possibly could, but as soon as they were wiped out by Sleep, he didn't have anything on the back burner to kind of prevent him from getting supply blocked. So that did delay him just ever so slightly. He might have been able to continue with that push, continue with that map control if he had just a few more pylons back down in the base. But it looks like Sleep is going to try to deny this third here momentarily as it's now being placed down by Astronomy.
Yep, he's going to be able to take on the probe immediately. He's going to immediately surround the Nexus, and does get canceled quite quickly, but we can see the forces pushing down, and that's a pretty early third that Astronomy is trying to get, and this is where Daybreak could be a tricky position. He's going to need to get some Zealots, get this wall off, because these Lings can run up this ramp and go straight into that natural expansion, which they almost do, but then decide to not do. Wait, yeah, maybe they will do.
Maybe they will. They're very indecisive. Yeah. They're fleeting. Oh, good warp in there.
Oh yes, he did get 2 Zealots there. Because definitely. Oh wow, he's got another area down there that needs to be walled off. Never mind. It's actually Zerg Titan.
Yep, Zerg type, but yeah, it looks like they're going to try to come back into the third. There's a bigger force just standing right there. Yeah, he's going to try to wall that in with those with gateways, and that's really smart. Try to give them a little bit more of a choke point that they have to go into, and yeah, now Sleep's still trying to get in to that natural, and I can't fault him for trying. You've got to try to probe those defenses as best as possible, because even if there's nothing there, that cannon can only target one thing at a time, and there's so many Zerglings that it's going to be almost impossible for him to really kill off that force before they're able to do some significant damage.
Yeah. But speaking of this significant damage, we have a large force of Roach Hydra moving across the map, and they're splitting up. We have the Lings going down the bottom and try and draw down the army, but Astronomy is splitting up his units very, very well. See, there is this Roach Hydro Force is really actually going to break down these rocks and have a nice place to move forward. There's a lot of sentries though with good force fields. This ramp can be held for a while, but aggression from Sleep is exactly what he needs right now. He's going to push forward, continue reinforcing. He just fixed the supply block, and we're going to see a lot of units coming down. But these Lings are unable to actually get in that little hole at the bottom.
Yeah, and very smart play here out of Sleep. Regardless of what he's doing here with all these units, he's still expanding, still getting more and more things. But now we see a major engagement. Good force fields, keep those Hydras back just a little bit, lock in those Roaches, and they're able to take out some significant pop shots. But Astronomy is losing his army very, very quickly as more units are still trying to be warped in right now. The Roaches trying to take down the Forge to get into that main base, and still more pressure being applied. The Void Ray went down. The Stalkers are all but cleaned up, and the Void Rays are all gone. Astronomy down to 72 health, and there looks like the GG from Astronomy.
Yep, very, very nice. And those forces were very pretty, but they did not seem that effective.
Yeah, sadly, he just kind of tore right through him, and that was kind of interesting, because